Friends, this is our second release on remission of duties and taxes on export products. As you are aware, MEIS scripts on export of goods would be discontinued very soon. And instead of MEIS, new licenses for remission of duties and taxes on export product would come into being before 31st of December 2020 in phases. So, dated 10th of August 2020, the CBIC has issued a circular to all EPCs, export promotion councils and trade associations, to do a study and to suggest the proposed RODTEP rate, which would substitute the MEIS rate. We have done a study on an export product, and we would discuss here the methodology of calculating the embedded taxes and proposing to the central government, whereby helping them to come out with the appropriate rate under RODTEP. Mind that the central government is all out to promote Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India, and therefore it would help out the exporters who do a right study and suggest the optimum rate for RODTEP, which would benefit the entire industry of exporters in that goods. So, for example, if you are an exporter of mobile phones, laptops, tea, or any other goods for that matter, then your association is required to suggest to the central government by doing a study on what would be the embedded taxes which are inbuilt in these export products and for which the industry should get a RODTEP license or RODTEP scripts, which can be used for payment of other duties and taxes on imports, or which can be utilized and encashed in the market as a transferable script. So let us understand what are the direct or indirect embedded taxes, right? Now, if you are, say, a exporter of a product, for example, say tea or mobile phone. Now, for manufacturing that tea or mobile phone, you require to hire workers in your factory or your estates, and those workers you provide certain eatables. Now, in those eatables, there are certain embedded taxes. There can be a GST element on it, and under GST, under section 17 subsection 5, you do not get an input tax credit of GST. So GST becomes a cost of your mobile phone or tea, right? Further, the person who is manufacturing that eatable product, say rice, it is also purchasing certain goods for which it does not get input tax credit. For example, the rice producer in the instant case does purchases diesel for its gensets. And in on diesel, petrol, etc., still central excise and VAT is charged, for which the rice producer does not get the input tax credit, and that becomes a cost to the rice producer, and indirectly it flows on to you. So on one part, you are having direct cost of GST on rice, on which you do not get input tax credit. On the other hand, an indirect cost embedded in the cost of rice is being passed on to you. So in this way, one has to understand what are the direct and indirect costs, and one has to do the study and propose a rate of RODTEP. We will now discuss one by one, slowly and steadily, on how the study is to be conducted. Now there are two forms, in fact three: R1, R2 and R3. R1 is the basic KYC requirements. R2 is the cost of duties and taxes embedded in the cost of the manufacturing of the product other than the direct raw material cost. So let us take 4-5 examples and you will understand very clearly on how to calculate this direct and indirect taxes. So for example, this production of the instant goods, in this case say mobile phones or tea, you are using gensets in your estate or in your factory, right? Now on these gensets you are purchasing diesel and petrol. Now in diesel and petrol there are the direct central excise and VAT charged by the diesel company to you. So that you have to take the average rate of central excise on diesel and the average rate of VAT on diesel, calculate the amount which is embedded directly in the diesel cost which you have debited to your profit and loss account. Now, indirectly, you have to calculate, you have to take the balance sheet on profit and loss account of a diesel or petrol supplier, say BPCL. Now, you have to see what are the inputs which BPCL is using, what is the GST element for which BPCL does not get the credit, calculate the embedded taxes of BPCL as a value of its sales value, and the percentage of this embedded taxes that has to be applied on your cost of diesel and petrol. So on the one hand, you have a direct central excise and VAT cost on diesel and petrol used to produce mobile phones or tea. On the other hand, you have an indirect cost percentage which you have calculated indirectly using the balance sheet of a diesel or petrol company, and that percentage you apply as a embedded taxes on your diesel and petrol cost of your product, right? So in this way, friends, there can be so many other costs. You can see on your screen the various ways of calculating, which is the same as what I have suggested, and there are various other costs. For example, there can be a cost of natural gas, coal, electricity. Now electricity, there is no GST, so you only calculate the indirect embedded taxes on electricity cost which is included in your profit and loss account. There would be cost of warehousing charges. Now again, if you are taking warehousing, then there would be a GST element for which you may be getting credit. So there is no direct embedded cost. However, you have to take the balance sheet of a warehousing company and you have to see what are the costs of that warehousing company for which that warehousing company is not getting input tax credit. Calculate that embedded taxes as a percentage of the sales value of the warehousing company and apply it on your warehousing charges to find out the indirect tax element or embedded taxes on your warehousing charges. Ocean freight, similarly, you calculate direct, in the instant case only indirect taxes, because again you are getting the ITC of the GST element, and all other expenses. It may be flight charges, it may be GTA charges, it may be courier charges, etc. In the same way, you have to use this direct and indirect tax model for form R3, that is for your raw material. In case of mobile phone, the raw material may be lithium ion battery if you are producing the same, or if you are purchasing also. In case of say tea, it can be green leaf, which can be a raw material for tea. So in the same way, the methodology remains the same, right? However, you have to put it in form R3, right? Once you get the embedded taxes direct and indirect from R2 and R3. You add it up and see the per unit embedded taxes divided by the per unit sales price on export of the product, and you get the embedded taxes percentage which you have to propose to the central government to help you and your association and your industry exporters to get a reimbursement of under RODTEP scheme. Now, there can be various assumptions in this study. First of all, the government wants us to take the time period as 6 months from 1st October 19 to 31st of March 1920. However, it may not be possible for all industries, which may be seasonal in nature and costs may vary. So, in that case, possibly one financial year may be taken. Now, you have to do this study on various companies, right, in the industry. So, some companies may have different financial year and data would be different. So, maybe it is suggested to take 1 year, but it may be a different 1 year for different companies, right? However, a 1 year period can be taken consistently. Form R2, the heads are very limited. So, therefore, maybe there would be a need to increase the number of heads in Form R2 basis upon the typicality of an industry, right? You have to take a sample size. The sample size suggested is 5 companies for every product, but maybe 5 companies may not be available, or maybe more companies you want to take. So you can go ahead with that, and maybe that has to be taken as an assumption. So various other assumptions are required in this study, and in this way it is very important at this time to do this RODTEP study for your product or your export product, so that you don't miss out on this RODTEP benefit. Thank you very much.